Danville United has been created to engage those interested in working together to make Danville a more tolerant, friendly, and welcoming community to all, regardless of our differences. Perhaps our most obvious and challenging difference is race. While we're celebrating 50 years of progress improving civil rights and race relations, racism and racial inequality still infects our community's civic life. Unfortunately, thinking seriously about race relations in Danville can be rather depressing and disempowering. Ongoing institutional racism, continued wealth and income disparities, and the persistence of racial prejudice and discrimination in many spheres of social life may leave one with the impression that nothing can be done to improve race relations. One is tempted to throw one's hands in the air and yell, "There's nothing I can do." But there is. We all have the power to influence our families, friends, and peers, and our own thinking and behavior. We are Danville United. We're the fellows from the Danville Regional Foundation's Middle Border Forward program. With our thanks to Dr. Charles Gallagher of LaSalle University in Philadelphia for these ideas, we'd like to share 10 simple things we all can do to improve race relations in Danville.
Talk to your family. If you have family members that are racist or use stereotypes, ask them politely and non-judgmentally why they harbor such animosity towards a whole group of people. Did they have a bad experience with someone from that group? Ask them if they have ever been the target of animosity or hatred because of their race, ethnic background, religion, or nationality. How did such an encounter make them feel? Were their parents or grandparents ever subject to such prejudice or discrimination? Ask them if they think their prejudice or racism violates the American creed or equal treatment and opportunity for all, regardless of group membership. If they believe in the American creed, how do they reconcile their racism or prejudice? Ask them if they believe in the golden rule that states, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you."
Avoid stereotypical language. Be mindful that certain words or phrases typically mean the person is about to use stereotypes to describe the group. When you hear someone say, "All black people do this," or "Latinos always like to," or "I never met a white person who could," a red flag should go up that stereotypes are in use. Politely ask if they are referring to an individual encounter with someone from another group, or if they mean to speak for 38 million blacks, 40 million Latinos, 10 million Asians, 200 million whites, or 2.5 million American Indians in this country. Ask the person if they really believe all people in that group actually share the same behaviors and attitudes. Is it really possible that certain behaviors and beliefs only appear in one racial or ethnic group and not the other?
Make it known that racism isn't funny to you. Don't tolerate racist jokes. If you hear a joke being told that disparages someone because of his or her group membership, stop the person from telling the joke. If they insist on finishing, ask them why they don't like black people or white people or Asians or Catholics or whomever they're ridiculing in their attempt at humor. You have many responses to such behavior. You might say, "Hey, I don't think that putting down other people is funny." Or, "I have gay friends. I don't want to hear you trashing them." Or, "My brother-in-law is black, or white, or Asian, or Catholic, or Jewish, and I think he's great." Be willing to take a stand about appropriate public discourse. If you do not speak up and let the person know that such remarks are socially inappropriate, you are condoning their beliefs and behavior.
Be introspective. How can we live our lives so social or peer pressures don't push us towards racist, prejudiced, or bigoted beliefs or actions? If you find yourself thinking in a prejudicial way or discriminating against someone, ask yourself how you got there. Be introspective and honest about why you acted or behaved a certain way towards someone from a different ethnic or racial group. What scared you about the situation that made you deviate from your core beliefs or values? Did you overreact? Were you defensive? If you could relive that experience, what would you do differently? Is it possible you were socialized or taught to react the way you did? What role did peer pressure play in your actions? The most important thing you can do is to think critically about the root causes of your anxieties, attitudes, and actions. Be introspective and be willing to change how you think about groups different from your own.
Be a good citizen. Vote in every election. Get involved. Weigh in on important issues. Take the time to find out candidates' positions on policies that have implications for race relations. Don't support a politician whose campaign rhetoric is racially divisive or attempts to win votes by manipulating race or class fears. Participate in community affairs. Volunteer to serve on a municipal board or commission. Be an active member of Danville United. Write letters to the editor, blog, express your opinions. Knowing what the issues are requires reading and keeping up on the news. Stay informed.
Understand that TV, rap, and rock and roll all appeal to the lowest common denominator. When you watch television, realize that you are under constant bombardment by the most simplistic and stereotypical images of ethnic and racial groups. Ask yourself which racial and ethnic groups are on prime time and how these groups are represented. Are whites, blacks, Asians, Latinos, or American Indians in a wide range of roles? Or are some groups more likely to be maids, gangbangers, exotics, or lawyers? Why? What you watch on television is not just entertainment. The mass media provides the images, symbols, and narratives that shape their way we understand in society. The media cements existing stereotypes and constructs expectations about where groups should be placed in America's racial hierarchy. The television industry uses stereotypes to make racial inequality look like the normal order of society. Refuse to be manipulated by the programs you watch and the music you hear.
Learn your family history. Take time to talk to the elderly people in your life. Ask your parents, aunts and uncles, neighbors, spiritual leaders in your community about how race relations have changed since they were children. Ask your parents, grandparents, and other relatives about the Brown case, the Civil Rights Movement, Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, the American Indian Movement, La Raza, the LA riots, and Bloody Monday in Danville. How did they explain these events? What were they doing as these monumental events unfolded? Your elders are resources. Talk to them about the past and the present.
Teach through example. Be a positive role model to all the younger people in your life. If you're at college age or older, you probably have a number of children or young adults who look up to you for moral guidance. If they hear you use foul language, then in all likelihood they will too. If you speak and act in a racist manner, they will learn your racism. Explain to those who view you as a role model what it means to live in a multiracial, multi-ethnic society. Explain to them what the American Creed and the Golden Rule mean.
Step out of your comfort zone. Involve yourself in activities that place you in an environment where you will be exposed to people from different racial and ethnic backgrounds. Think about attending museums, music events, ethnic festivals, restaurants, supermarkets, shops, or any other public place where you will share space with people different from yourself. Broaden your life and experiences and enjoy Danville diversity.
Know thyself. Did you grow up in a community that was racially homogeneous? Was your house of worship pretty much composed of people who looked like you? Are your best friends all the same race? Was your elementary school segregated? How about your high school? What did it look like in terms of racial composition? Do you think being raised in a segregated environment shapes racial attitudes? How? How do you think being the only racial minority in most social settings might shape a person's view of race relation? Have your ideas about race changed since you were 15 years old? How and why? Reflect on these questions and write down your answers. Circulate what you write to your friends and family. Set up a meeting to have a discussion on what you wrote and what their views on race relations in Danville are.
We must all make a daily personal commitment to remove prejudice from our own lives and to treat all people with respect. If you're not each a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We can make a difference. We are Danville United.